Hey, welcome to the 412 podcast. My name is Shay.
My name's Tyler, and our heart behind this podcast is to equip youth pastors, youth leaders, families, and students to do the work that God has called us to build up the church, and to create maximum kingdom impact. Up 412 Nation. I was going to say what's up everybody, and then what's up 412 Nation. I don't know what happened there. What's up everybody? So glad you guys are back. This is episode 8.
Yeah,
right?
8 already.
Episode 8. We're back with you. I'm Tyler. This is Shay. Shay, how the heck are you?
Dude, I am doing well. I'm doing well. I can't complain. Going out golfing later. That's been my new thing since I have a membership. I try to go as much as I can to make sure I can pay back that membership. So
there you go.
But I'm doing well. How are you doing, buddy?
Not too bad. We are enjoying beautiful weather here in Minnesota. Yesterday we got up into the 80s, which is the first time that's happened this year. So
yeah, it was that late spring, early summer feel yesterday.
That's right. And also this week was the first week that government restrictions have been lifted to where we can see other people legally. And so I have
in 10 groups or less.
In groups of 10 or less, correct. But I didn't know how to interact with people. I wanted to walk up and touch them and be like, "Are you on a screen?" But coronavirus, you can't do that. So
right.
That's what we've been doing. But yesterday was Wednesday. Shay, what'd you guys do?
Yeah, so we actually are taking a break for the next 2 weeks of doing Zoom meetings and stuff. And the reason for that is because I'm planning our online virtual senior service. We got Lecrae and Andy Minio stopping by.
Ooh.
I'm not going to tell you guys how I did that.
I know how you did that.
If you know how I did it, then utilize it because it's cool. But and then a bunch of other people who have been influential in their life stopping by. Just doing a altogether cool just online service for them. And then after that, I think we're going to start meeting in person again because with being as nice as I can about it, I think that online senior service is the cut the cord, wipe my hands kind of thing with the seniors. And with it being the groups of 10 or less, I just don't know if there's a nice way to do it. So I think the online senior service is a great send off for them.
Yeah.
As I prepare for the coming year. But Tyler, how did last night go for you guys?
Yeah, with the beautiful weather, and we also had our Awana end of the year, like our kids ministry had their Awana drive-through. So they were giving out Awana awards in a drive-through type thing. And so I had a number of leaders who have kids in Awana and a number of students whose parents help in Awana, so they were helping and serve that. So between the weather and having a couple other things going on and the new rules where people can actually interact, our numbers were a little bit down. I kind of expected it, to be honest with you. We have one more week. We're meeting next week, and that's our last one. And then we take a break over the summer. We're going to be releasing online content still over the summer because we just don't know what summer is going to look like. And then evaluating a lot of things like our mission trip and different things. We're probably behind the ball as some other churches on decisions on mission trips and things like that. So, but just praying through that, seeking wisdom in that.
Right.
So yeah, that's what has been going on for us. I'm ready to start meeting back in person, but it's looking like that's going to be a little bit. It's going to be still a little bit down the road. But hey, Shay, we have been doing this series on the podcast, just really talking about the ministry toolbox. What are the things that we want to equip students with, the skills and the tools to be able to live out the mission that God has called us to? And today I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about how we need to be teaching students how to share the gospel. I mean, thinking about it, like
super key,
right? That's our call as Christians to go into the world. It's the greatest command that Jesus gave us before he ascended into heaven, is go into all the world, make disciples, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Right? Like that is our call as Christians. And so we need to be teaching students how to share the gospel. But I don't know if this is how it is in your context. I know in my context, that is a terrifying thing for teenagers. The idea of sharing the gospel. And so today,
terrifying and a little unknown too. I just don't know if they know how to do it.
Right, right. So today on the podcast, we want to just take a little bit of time. Again, we take some resources. We use a lot of resources from Dare to Share. Dare to Share is a great
Mm-hmm.
resource. Greg Steer and his team over there, they do some really, really good work on equipping teenagers to share the gospel,
Mm-hmm.
and some really cool things. And so taking some tips and tricks from there, but then also we want to give you 5 kind of hacks, key points.
Hacks, walkaways,
Yeah,
practical tips,
yeah,
yeah,
practical tips.
whatever you want to call them.
Exactly. Things that we have used in our ministries, and
There's
just
stuff you can
even
start doing tomorrow
literally
if you
tomorrow.
wanted
Actually,
to.
today, if you wanted to. I
Yeah,
mean,
today if you really wanted to jump the gun.
there you go. So 5 hacks, 5 points in helping students learn how to share the gospel. So Shay, why
Mhm.
don't you kick us off, man, with the first one?
Yeah, so the first one, and I mean, this is the most important to do for even outside of just sharing the gospel, but before you do anything, it's just pray. And so when we're talking about how to share the gospel, I want to talk about specifically what you can do when you pray, and it's pray specifically for your own heart, your own
That's
confidence.
good.
Which is kind of weird to say your own confidence, but build up that confidence that you can go out and do it kind of thing, because that's something that comes from the Spirit.
Yeah.
So pray for that in your own heart, or encourage your students to pray for that in their own heart, and then also pray for the person that they're going to talk to. I don't think a lot of students or a lot of people really are doing a lot of the random street witnessing anymore. Oftentimes we have the person in our mind, we have the group in our mind that we want to talk to about the gospel. So pray for them specifically that God would open their hearts, God would soften their hearts, whatever it is that needs to go on, or just pray that they would just at least have a dialogue about it.
Yeah.
And so that's the first step, is pray for your own hearts, pray for your own confidence, and then pray for the hearts and openness of the people they're going to talk to as well.
That's good. That's good. So number 1, pray. I know for us, we talk a lot about, a lot of students say, well, I don't know. Like all my friends say they're Christians. And so we actually
Yeah.
have kind of flipped the verbiage around when we talk about our evangelism nights and things like that, is like, hey,
Hmm.
who are the people in your life that don't do church? Right. Because
Yeah.
I think everybody in America kind of feels like they're Christian. Unless they're, of a different religion. But for the most part, most people are like,
Right.
I'm a Christian. And so we use that verbiage actually, like people who don't do church. And so we give our students cards and they write a name of a person who doesn't do church that they want to invite
Yeah.
to one of our nights that is geared towards like the gospel, but then also for opportunities for them to talk to them, just like you said. So I love that. So
Hmm.
number 1, pray. Number 2 is, I believe we need to teach them how.
Yeah, definitely.
The biggest feedback I get from students when it comes to sharing the faith is they don't know how. And so I
Hmm.
think number 1, first, we need to be teaching them what is the gospel, right? That we were
Yeah.
created to be with God, but our sins separated us from Him, and the sins could not be made right, or the sins separate us from God, and they cannot be made right by good deeds. And the
Hmm.
payment for death,
Right.
for sin, is death. And like, but through Jesus we have everlasting life, and that life starts now, right? Gospel. Dare to Share uses that. I probably butchered it
Hmm.
way bad, but we use that. We actually have it on our wall in our youth space.
Yeah.
But teaching them, okay, what is the gospel, and then how do you share it, right? Like
Right.
what does that look like? But I think students need to first internalize and know what the gospel is before they can ever share something. But the cool thing
Hmm.
is as they share it, and we're going to talk more about like how they can begin to learn to share it, but as they share
Right.
it, I believe it becomes more and more real, more and more like rooted in their life, because when you teach something, it just deepens the belief, it deepens the
Yeah.
knowledge of that thing. And so I think students need to know what the gospel is, and they need to
Hmm.
be taught on how to share it. So number 2 is teach them how. Shay, what's number 3, and how can we begin to teach them how
Yeah.
to share it?
Yeah, the third one that I got, or that we got for you guys, is let them practice.
Mm,
You got to let them practice sharing their faith. So you could be real creative with this. You can have them, partner up with one another, which I know some people might be like, that's cheesy kind of thing, but they're gonna have to practice in some sort of way. So something I've seen done is people partner up with one another and just share your testimony, or just ask questions kind of
mm,
thing. And you can print out questions that they can ask to the other person, and just let the other person be open to responding. to that kind of thing. I've also seen people invite people from the like members from the church to come in
Mm.
so that they can practice with someone who's not their friend and
Oh,
someone they
cool.
probably don't dialogue as much with, but there's not as much fear because you're still bringing in someone who's a Christian, someone who's going to be receptive to hearing that and asking those questions. So that could be one way they practice. Another is just asking them just on a piece of paper, whether it's typing or writing with their hand, is writing out what is their story like. If you were someone to say, how did you become a Christian? Why are you a Christian? What would you say, kind of thing? Have them write that out and then just have them speak that out loud. So I know for me, those are two real easy and practical ways when I think of let them practice
Mm.
before you take them out and throw them to the wolves, quote
Yeah.
unquote. Those are great ways they can practice. Another awesome way they can practice I've seen too is just show. So Living Waters is by Ray Comfort and Kirk Cameron.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's those two. You could show videos of those guys on how they do a lot of street witnessing. So, but you could show them those videos and just see how they're dialoguing, how they're interacting, how they start those conversations with people. And they're creative in a way that they like to make documentaries around the topic.
Yeah.
And then they interview people because everyone wants their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
So they're real creative in that they know people are going to will to dialogue if they're able to stand behind a camera, kind of thing. So I love the show. That's what I've done personally is I show students that to give them courage, be like, oh, that's how they did that. That's how they did that. And I've actually had some students come back to me saying, we should plan some kind of documentary and record it and throw it out there, kind of thing. So,
Or even those
yeah,
YouTube videos, people always are making those
right,
YouTube videos where they're interviewing people, they're asking questions. That's
right.
very relevant to today's culture. And so,
Oh, yeah, for
and,
sure.
and I think part of it is breaking this myth, if you will, that people don't actually want to talk about like faith and spirituality,
Yeah.
because that's the biggest thing when I've taken students out and we've practiced and then actually gone out and done things is they're like, I'm
Hmm.
surprised at how open people are to talk about faith and spirituality. Now, granted, okay, there's
Yeah.
going to be those people that are like, get out of my face, right? But for the most
Sure.
part, I think people, like, especially if we get good at asking questions, people like to
Hmm.
talk about themselves. It's kind of a flaw in human nature is we
Right.
probably like to talk about ourselves too much, um,
Hmm.
or talk too much, which is why you and I created a podcast, because we like to talk, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I think like breaking that myth that people don't actually want to talk. People do want to
Hmm.
talk, I mean that's so good. I think in our context we have um, taken our students, some of our leadership students, and been like, okay, practice with each other, write out your testimony, share your testimony, just getting
Hmm.
comfortable sharing things, but then also
Yeah.
like doing the one-on-ones and talking and doing that, I think is huge, which then leads us
Hmm.
into our fourth point of we've got to give them chances, right? And thinking
Right.
about, I think there's a maybe a happy medium somewhat before like going out and like actually like across face to face sharing the gospel with
Hmm.
someone or sharing your faith with someone is actually could be social media, right? Like
Yeah.
think about that. Social media is, you can put it out there, you can blast it out to a lot of people, whether it's sharing your testimony or sharing your story or sharing
Hmm.
what you believe about Jesus, or even just straight up sharing the gospel. Like you have the
Right.
opportunity to put that out there in a safe way. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but
Yeah, in a way that you can delete comments if you don't like what someone says. You can ignore a comment if someone
yeah,
says it, kind of thing. Yeah, I'd say a safe way.
it's kind of a happy medium in the area of like give them chances. And so encouraging
Mhm.
students to like share their faith.
Right.
Shane Pruitt is a guy who does a lot of stuff with the Southern Baptist convention and stuff like that. And
Is
I
he
was
related to Madison Pruitt by any chance?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, she was on The Bachelor.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I should have said
Yeah, you
that.
probably shouldn't have admitted
My
that.
like
But
opinions would have just like I follow her on TikTok too.
you hate
Anyways,
Star Wars. You watch Bachelor, dude. What's wrong with you? I don't even
oh
know.
man.
Anyways, but Shane, I was on a
Er,
call. I was on a call with a handful of other pastors with him and everything, and he was talking about how they do something with his groups, or he encourages people to do, is to just go online and share their story.
mm,
And I know you've done
yeah.
that, I've done that, and maybe we can talk about that in a little bit. But just giving students chances, whether it's on social
Yeah.
media. We took our leadership students and we went to a local mall here in Minnesota. And we actually went out and just said, okay, go out and just have conversations with people. And I gave them a couple like startup conversation questions or whatever. And they were blown away at how many people wanted to actually like have discussions. And even I went, and as I was going out, I connected with a guy that actually turned out I went to high school with, didn't realize it. We just
Wow.
recognized each other and we're kind of like, I think I know you. But we went to high school, graduated the same year. I went to a big high school, so keep that in mind. But graduated the same year. And we've actually, well, before all the quarantine stuff, we were meeting almost every other week and discussing. And he's actually, he's a guy, he's Muslim. And we've had some unbelievable conversations with that. And just by, again, reemphasizing how people want to have conversations. And I think also, when we give students chances, they need to understand that it's not like a one-time conversation. Now, maybe sometimes, yes, you'll have a conversation with somebody and the harvest is ripe, right? And it's ready to go and they accept Christ. But also, man, like having conversations with your friends, having those spiritual conversations with people out close to you or around you in your family, those things take time. I think I'm probably going to butcher this statistic, but there was a statistic that came out a while ago that it says on average, it takes a person about 12 times of hearing the gospel before they actually make some sort of decision about it. Right. And so we have to also break this myth that when we give them chances, when students are given opportunities to share their faith, the statistics actually show that they probably won't make a decision. But the Bible tells us that like when we do something for the Lord, it doesn't come back void or like, I forget what the terminology is exactly, but it's not wasted. And so every time we go out and we share the gospel, we're planting seeds. And so helping students understand that too, as we're giving them chances is, you might be planting a seed. It doesn't mean that you're watering it. It doesn't mean that you get to harvest it, but you're still a part of the mission and living out the mission. And so we need to be giving students chances. And here's the thing. Super awkward the first time they do it. Super awkward,
for sure.
Right? But then the next time they do it, it's a little less awkward. And the next time they do it, it's a little less awkward until it becomes normal. And isn't that where we want to get students to? Where sharing their faith is normal, where it just happens. It's who they are. It's who God, has put those passions in their life. And so I think we need to give students chances and not just fall into this idea. I think sometimes as youth pastors or as leaders fall into this idea of like, they just don't want to do it. I actually, in talking with students, most students who have an active, growing relationship with Jesus, right? They want to, they're just scared and they don't know how, and they haven't been given opportunities. Now, obviously, that's not necessarily for everybody because there's all kinds of different things, right? But I even had students who don't talk in large groups come with me and go out and do it, and they did it.
That's cool.
My socially nervous ones, and they would go out and they did it, and they talked to people because students want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And there's nothing bigger that we can get students a part of than the mission of Jesus.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, the fifth one, which, I think catapults right off what you were saying extremely well, is you got to do it too. So you can't expect the students to do something you're not doing. Okay. So here, Tyler, you feel free to jump in on this quickly too, if you want, but I can speak from a personal experience here. First, I'll say this. Don't be the person who complains about the Westboro Baptist Church who, oh, I can't believe they're picketing and stuff like that. Actually, Westboro, that's kind of a bad example.
Yeah, that's a bad example.
So, but don't be the person who, and here's why I say this. Don't be the person who also complains about the person who's standing on the street corner with the megaphone.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like,
they're just
telling people about hell. Yeah, like, don't complain about that because I'm going to say 10 times out of 10 here because I don't know if I've seen anyone who's complained about it who has done something, but I hear him say that's not the gospel. They're just talking about hell, blah 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 blah. But guess what? They're doing something you're not. You're just sitting there complaining about how they're doing it, and you're not doing anything. So just do something. You're gonna make mistakes along the way. Okay, you're not gonna say everything perfectly along the way, but just do it. Just get out there and just start sharing your story, whether that's walking down a beach, walking down the beach like what I did when I was at Clearwater, and just saying, "Hey, do you want to talk about Jesus?" Most people are like, "What in the world are you talking about? What do you mean do I want to talk
Do
about
you know our
Jesus?"
Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
And then I thought I'm on a beach, so I wore long khakis and a polo kind of. It was so I learned off my mistakes
But
though. At least I was
flip-flops. You
doing
had flip-flops
something.
on, right?
No, I was
Oh
wearing
my good.
sneakers.
Yeah, cowboy
Um,
boots.
so I mean, I wasn't dressed up in a suit and tie, but um, I mean,
Should have
I
been.
learned off those mistakes. Um, now I'm able to just talk with my neighbors. I'm able to invite them to church. I'm able to talk with people on social media about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely contribute that to going out. Now I had a group of friends who I went out with who helped my confidence. So we always went out in pairs. So
Which is okay.
right, you don't have to go alone. You can find pairs. You can find a group kind of thing.
Even Jesus, when he sent out the 72, he sent them in twos.
Right.
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 So there's actually biblical principle to going out and doing it with people.
Right. And so just get out and just start doing it. There's not I'm not going to give you a hack on here's 3 steps on how to get out and start doing it. Just
Go out,
go
do
do
it,
it.
and keep doing it.
There you go. 3 steps. Share your story on social media. Go tell someone about how you're a Christian. Ask someone, what do you think about the church? That is
Mm-hmm.
a great open-ended question that they will tell you what they think about the church, and it will provide you an opportunity to answer some of those questions. But you got to get out and start doing it. And please don't be the people who complain about the Westboro Baptist, how they're doing, who complain about the street preacher with the megaphone yelling about hell, and then you're not out there sharing your faith. Because guess what? The person who with the megaphone, I've walked to them multiple times, and I go, "Hey, thank you so much for at least coming out here and doing it." There's a number of Christians who will complain about what you're doing, and they won't, and they just don't go out and do anything about it. So
Well, and I think
don't be that person, please.
yeah, and I think as leaders, right, pastors, leaders, people leading in the church, we can't be telling students or telling people to do it if we're not doing it ourselves.
Right.
That was something that I was extremely
Exactly.
convicted of. I was constantly like share, and I'm not talking like as a pastor, I'm really comfortable sharing the gospel from the platform,
Oh
right?
yeah.
But
That's probably the easiest place for us
I
to do
think it
it.
is. I think we have an easier job as pastors and as leaders doing it in a church, in a place where they're coming in and everything. But when we're going out, man, that's a stretch and a leap of faith of going out and doing it. But we can't expect students to do it in their schools and their campuses if we're not doing it. And then we begin to share those stories, not because we're trying to make ourselves look good, but to show the students like, hey, this is important because I'm doing it too, and it's important to me. And I'm not just telling you, I'm not just telling you to do it and then not doing it myself.
Yeah. Ephesians 4:12, when we talk about equipping people, it's not just here's what I say, here's what I give you, now go do it.
Yeah.
Part of that equipping is people seeing that you can do it too, and stepping out to and then when you step out, you can equip people.
100.
I think that's a great way. Tyler, anything you want to add to that, man?
Yeah, just don't wear khakis and polos on the beach. And if you
With
do,
tennis shoes.
wear flip-flops at least.
Right.
So,
And if you're someone who's done that, I sympathize with you.
Oh man.
But I think with that, we're going to bring a close to this episode. Guys, go out and share the gospel. Encourage your students to do it. Teach them, train them, let them practice. Pray with them as they do it too. Again, thanks so much for listening to the 412 podcast. You can find us on any social media practically by typing in the 412 podcast. And you'll find us. It's a little black logo with some green squares, and it says 412 next to it. And if you have any questions for the show, feel free to email us at 412equip@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shay. Thank you so much for spending these moments with us. And with me, as always,
my name is Tyler, and we absolutely love that you guys take the time to check in with us and everything like that. Yes. We would love to connect. Thank you for being a part of 412 Nation. Let's be friends. Friendship is good.
I like it. Let's do it.
All right.
Thanks so much for listening, guys.
See you guys later.